I think like data is your crayons and your paint, and the creativity is in how you use it. You can choose to let it sit on a table and not look at it, or you can choose to pick it up and listen to what it tells you.
Welcome to the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we unpack the messy, beautiful intersection of creativity and business with the artists, marketers, and founders shaping our culture. Hey friends, I'm Carl, founder of Epic Made, and I'm the host of the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we share our thoughts on creativity, art, and business. Past guests include Tim Thompson, founder of RevThink, Cheryl Platts, author of the Game Development Strategy Guide, and Chris Hewish, global game strategist at Xsola. I'm forever grateful for the supporters of our podcast, and we're always open to more sponsors that align with our brand. That said, Pixel Retentive is brought to you by Epic Made. Epic Made is a strategic creative studio helping brands turn big ideas into unforgettable animated content, campaign visuals, and story-driven creative that actually connects and turns viewers into fandom. We work with the best brands in gaming, entertainment, tech, and pop culture to make ideas feel bigger, clearer, and harder to ignore. So if your brand has a campaign, launch, pitch, or story that needs to stand out, visit epicmade.net and let's make something epic together. All right, so with us today, we have Melinda Powelson, founder and CEO of MatchEngine.com. Welcome to the show, Melinda.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Really excited to have you. We're definitely going to get some cool perspectives from you, more on the business side today and less on the artsy fartsy side that we lean into often. So I'm excited. So Melinda has led her company through major shifts in marketing, from early digital demand strategies to today's AI-driven marketplaces. She focuses on consumer demand and compliance-sensitive industries, and recently played a key role in developing iSigma's 2026 Market and Industry Intelligence Report. Building on more than 3 decades in the industry, Melinda continues to lead with data-driven research that helps businesses navigate complex and rapidly changing markets. It's pretty awesome stuff there. Lots of information. Yeah, for sure. I love it. Before we jump deep into today's subject, I'd love for the audience to get to know you a bit. So after decades of navigating marketing evolution, what shift has been the most disruptive to your business model?
There's without a doubt the way that Google changes and changes and changes is the most disruptive thing that's happened to the industries that we are in. So most consumers today find information through internet search, and Google makes changes every day, and keeping up with those changes. And right now in the landscape of as you add AI search to it, you have to stay on top of so many things to be relevant to consumers. And that's a lot of what we do, is pay attention to where consumers are shopping.
Yeah, I mean, where the eyeballs and attention are is where the money is, right? So
without a doubt. Without a doubt. I my early career was doing web development. I had a web development firm, and we did the Denver International Airport website, which was a big deal, and we were doing testing on it, user testing. And I was talking to a gentleman, and he'd say, "Well, Melinda, I would just pick up the phone and call. And you're trying to promote your big website." And they're like, "Really? I would just pick up the phone and call." But today, that isn't the case at all. Most people start their search typing in something into a search bar and looking for where the services are.
100%. Yeah. I mean, people do that extensively. They're always searching. Like, if they don't know someone immediately or have a referral immediately, they're going to search. And now even more, it's voice search, and even more and more, it's AI, right? Like, an AI is built into Google searches, right? So it's like, what do you think's so different about the big AI shift compared to previous waves like digital or social?
Well, I think AI is trying to give you an answer. So they're trying to take natural language, and instead of you using your time and resources to search for a number of answers for it, it's trying to produce a very small select group of answers and guide you in a specific direction. And it is a lot of us who've been on, doing search for a long time are very familiar with how to rank and on a Google or Bing or any kind of page. And now trying to get yourself into the group of information that's serviced through AI is a new challenge. And it's, it's a game like all the rest of it.
For sure. And obviously as you've built these up over the years, like the thing that I always, heard in SEO was like, you just want to put the best information out there so that Google can
Mhm.
read it and
Yes.
digest it. And so content is king there, right? Like how
Yes, of
much
course.
great, deep, meaningful content can you build around that
Right.
subject matter? I worry that in the AI version of this that like you're it's kind of like a winner take all, the top two or
Mhm.
three suggestions, and nobody else is getting traffic because it's like, oh, these are the three that like come back when the AI scrapes it, and everybody else like gets no exposure. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a, it's
I'm
a, it's a
speculating a
real,
bit.
as a marketer, it's a significant concern.
Yeah.
And for consumers, it should be a huge concern too, because you don't want a machine choosing, who to do, your driveway or anything like that. You need to use your brain too. And so the biggest change, right, that happened like last week is that Google in their search bar put an AI search in the search bar itself, which is, and so you have to see as a marketer where you show up in the regular search and now how you show up in the AI search, and to make sure that you're being relevant to customers. And good good content is the key to all of it, and understanding your customers is the key to all of it, and understanding how your customers are searching. So I don't know, it's a very complicated arena right now.
Yeah, and it's constantly evolving. And you mentioned earlier, like chasing Google's algorithm was
Yep,
exhausting, right? And
it
now
is.
it's like now you have to chase like four different companies' AI and like and all this stuff, on top of all of this stuff, and Google, and it's still built in that. And Google searches are still relevant. There's still a lot of people that don't want to even do that, aren't really relying on Google searches as
it's
much. And
still
that
it's still
first
plus.
part,
Yeah.
yeah,
Google is still 80% of search results. And so you have to play the Google game. But you would be remiss if you didn't look at what ChatGPT is doing, what Perplexity is doing, what Claude is doing. You need to be in all of it. And, for a small business, understanding how to do that is a lot of work, without a doubt. And, creativity, as you talk about, is like trying to understand what all these different things are trying to produce as a result.
yeah. And so creativity plays into this field in a different sort of way. It's not like, hey,
Mhm.
we've made these beautiful visuals. It's
Right.
how are we approaching our strategy here, and what tactics are we applying? What creative solutions can we create within these tactics that are like, oh, well, we do this and use these tools, like we'll get a little edge over here.
Right.
Um,
So what we're
so
doing is kind of interesting. So we get a lot of calls every day about our services, which are document shredding, electronic recycling, medical waste, and records management. And so we get around 2,000 calls a day. We now transcribe all of those calls, have an AI engine that mines those calls every night after the transcription, looking for what customers are searching for and what natural language they're using as they're searching for these things. What are their problems? What are the pain points? And that way you can create content that is designed to say exactly what customers are looking for. And we do this on an everyday basis. And so that is kind of where we use creativity, is using real language as it comes in, transcribing it, and then using the content that we learn to put it back out to try to be the best answer for what customers are actually searching for.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you are in a unique position there, right? Like not everybody's driving that much interest into their own
That well,
business,
that
but
is that is the advantage that we have, is that we drive, because we've been doing this for so long, we drive so much interest. And so we know our industry better than probably, other than the major national companies, we know it better than anybody because we've been doing it for so long and we have so much real data coming in every day. And so, a creative company uses what it's got, and that's what we have. So
yeah.
it's different than
Uh,
other people have.
I love that. So you're then getting these reports of like, hey, create content around these things. I assume
Yes.
you've also probably trained it on all of your content and say, does it generate some content for you guys based on that you then go back
you have
and
to be
read and
really
post?
careful. You have to be incredibly careful about making AI create content because there's massive penalties about that. And so your content has to be pretty original, but it informs how the content is created. So when you understand that your audience members are 55, your customers are 55 to 65 years old, that they're using certain words as they are asking you to do different things, and then you can create content based on what they say. The other way that we're using this data is to improve all of our phone team members, right? So every phone call comes in, we know what agent uses it, and we know that over time we've learned that every phone team wants their best performer to everybody to model their best performer. And so
Yeah.
we know who our best performer is. We know the language that they use on sales calls. We know how they interact with different people. And so now we have a model for a very stellar sales agent that we're trying to apply to the other 10 people that answer the telephone calls. And so now this AI engine works kind of like a potato kicker. I don't know if you're familiar with a potato kicker.
I am not, but
A potato kicker is in the farm industry. And when you get to your supermarket and you have a bunch of potatoes that are the same size and same color, a human didn't do that. A machine goes in and it says, I want potatoes a certain size to go into this machine. And if they're too big, they get kicked out. And a machine takes care of that. So our 2,000 calls that come in get analyzed and say that, Melinda was super friendly on this call. She did a good job of answering, getting the person in the sales process. She did a good job being an expert, but boy, she took 3 minutes on this call. She was not very efficient. And so our salespeople get reports about their friendliness, their efficiency, their expertise, and whether they moved them into a sales process every day so that they can learn how to do better based on the top performer, his metrics. And we keep trying to move everybody up. And so that's another kind of creativity using AI that's different than I think other people approach it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And there's not really an effective way to do that previously to AI, especially
Oh,
so right on the like everyday updated relevant information,
nobody could do this 2 years ago. You could have Google, Meta, massive companies doing this. The fact that it's available to a small company in Lakewood, Colorado, and that we can use it to drive a 21%, improvement is remarkable. I mean, it is. I mean, that is changing lives on a day-to-day basis, and it does it for us, for our individual people because they're able to make more money and we're able to make more money. But it does it for the customers too, because now the customers are getting a much better experience as we improve how we answer telephone calls.
Yeah, I mean that's really really amazing. What tools did you guys set this all up yourself, or did you
This is
hire
an
someone, or
internally
like?
developed tool. So I don't know, I'm not the technician. It was an idea. Every call center wants your best person to be everybody to be like your best person. And so this was a strategy to say at that time, why is Kaylee so good? I wanted to call the thing Kaylee.com because she was so much better than everybody else on the phone thing. And so you start like analyzing Kaylee's calls and seeing what makes her so good and then applying it to other people. And I don't know, it's been an evolution, but it's a pretty neat one.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it's a really neat evolution, and I think it's probably fair to say that there's still a lot of small businesses that are underestimating the operational impact that AI can have on their internal teams like this,
Mhm.
around performance, accountability, like all the details that you can now analyze. And part of it seems like, I don't know. Like part of it gives me a little anxiety. Like if I was the person on the call
Yeah.
desk, like, like, oh, well, I got to do better. Like, I guess, Kylie's over here crushing it. And like, it's, I don't know, but also maybe that's not the role I'm
But it's
supposed to work in
different,
anyway.
different
So,
though.
but yeah.
Like a machine has a standard, right? That is pretty evenly applied to every single person on the team. Where I might really like Kaylee, I might really like the other folks, and I might have favorites. And so when I deliver a message to my favorites, I might deliver it in a different way
Ooh, yeah.
than somebody who I don't know as well and I'm less familiar with. So getting it delivered, without that personal bias to
Mhm.
everybody at the same time every day, I think could have an advantage. We'll find out. I mean, this is new. We've been doing this since August. But our closing rates as a group have gone up 21% since we've been doing it. And
That's
the kind of
incredible.
content that we're delivering is much better because now we understand what customers actually are saying. In any industry, there's such a bias to think what customers want, and you make assumptions about what customers want. But when you start to really look at what customers want, the language is different than what you think. We make a lot of assumptions, and a machine doesn't make assumptions like that.
No, it just analyzes facts and data.
I mean,
That's
not that it doesn't have problems, but I mean,
of
there's been a
course.
lot of hiccups too. It's not perfect, but it's interesting.
No, but this is assistive AI, right? This isn't like,
Yes.
oh, like we're taking the AI and just
No.
replacing a bunch of human
Yeah.
beings with it. We're like,
No.
no, we're taking AI, using it to compile and analyze information that no one would have ever had the capacity and wherewithal to do in a way that removes human bias. And now we can use that to apply to our business to make it better. And like you said, everyone's making better money. The customers are getting better service. They're getting a
Right.
better experience on the phone.
Yep.
Like everybody's winning there. Like that's beautiful.
That is the potential. I mean, I think there's a lot of fear around AI. When you
Yeah.
look at videos and you're going to have to go to the airport and the AI is going to be the robot that checks you in, right? I mean, that is a AI using to replace humans. This is AI. The way we're using it is to enhance human experience. And all of them have a purpose. I mean, we can't, evolution is going to happen.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out where you fit into it in your little business and how to use it.
Yeah, and like I tell people that are terrified of AI or hate it or don't want to use it, especially on the creative side, like great, like make that part of your brand, make it
Mhm.
part of your message. Like, hey, we are all analog over here, and we do stuff the old
Right.
school way, and blah blah blah. And there's a market for that too, and people
Of
will
course.
value that. But you have to bring that, you have to position that and demonstrate that value. It can't just be like, hey, we do stuff slower than everybody else because we, like just because like we don't, you're not even talking about, and like getting into the weeds of the difference, right? Like if you
Right.
do AI assisted art, that's different than like, hey, I hand paint these things from scratch and it takes me 50
100%.
hours, and that's got a different value add than like, hey, I banged out this portrait of your daughter in 30 minutes based on a
Yes.
Laura model
Yeah.
that I overskinned, which is still cool, but like obviously doesn't have the same intrinsic value, right? Like so,
Right.
and it just depends on the customer you're working with, and like giving them what they want, right? Like
Well, and I
yeah,
think I mean, if I was thinking about creativity and what we could talk about is customers, right? Because
yeah,
what you just talked about is there's a huge range of customers for every solution. Some
yep,
people are happy to invest in the I don't ever touch a computer, make my thing perfect. And
yep,
other people are like, I need this tomorrow for my water bottle that's going out, for my family reunion or whatever. And
sure,
like where we are in what we do is a lot of document shredding. And there are the people who are absolutely want to have a shredding truck come to their house and watch their shredding being done in their driveway. There are people who are absolutely comfortable taking their shredding and to a drop-off center at a mailbox store and putting it in bin with everybody else. There are people who are happy to put it in their backyard, burn it up, right?
yep,
And you've got to, I think the marketing challenge is to match, that's what we try to do, the right customer with the right solution in a 2.5 to 3 minute phone call and have the right, so that's what this AI is teaching us is like who the customer is, quickly identifying them and then quickly matching them to the right part of the industry that fits their needs, and doing it quickly and efficiently.
absolutely. And that's what Match Engine is about, right?
That's right. That's what we do. We field around 2,000 calls a day, in document shredding, in electronic recycling, which is related to shredding because you need to get rid of the data,
Yep.
medical waste, which is sharps and high-end medical waste, and in what's called record management, which is scanning and storage of your boxes. And a lot of people still have those needs
Of course.
to have that stuff taken care of in a certified right way. And then there's a huge range of providers that need to be matched to those people in an efficient way. And so that's what our business is, doing
So you
that.
guys don't even do any of those things. You
No, we
just
don't.
go,
We are,
we've identified the demand that this is the
yep, the
customer,
demand generation.
and then we go, okay, they need a thing. Oh, well, you need this service, right? And
Right.
that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of people that do that, and that's a middleman service that is absolutely incredible. Like that's what you want. Like that's very valuable, right?
It helps you because a regular person, when you go to get your house painted, you don't know a lot about house painting. You don't know how much it costs, who's good at it, or whatever. If you need the guy across the street doing it, or a full service company, right? And
Yeah,
so
if you got
having
asbestos, you
having
need yeah, all the things. Yeah,
having an expert in the middle of that to say, it really helps if you get to, you're perfectly, whatever. But that's what our phone team does, and that's what the AI is helping us do better is identify questions faster and then match to the right partner better. And it's really fun to watch the evolution happen with that. The other evolution, if we talk about big evolutions, was COVID, right? And before COVID, everybody worked in downtown office buildings, and at least our industries were very targeted at servicing a small amount of area with large volumes of paper.
right.
Now, with 29% of the workforce working from home, the paper and nobody printing like what they did, paper shipments are 36% down pre and post COVID. So
Wow.
nobody is printing paper like they used to. So it's interesting, right? So these big shredding trucks are now having to go further than just the nice downtown office buildings, and they're producing, and there's less waste, well, not waste, less sensitive data that's being shredded than there used to
Right.
be. But when you print something out today, it is, at least for me, I print out my management meeting notes, my employee finals, I print out legal things, what I print out is the most sensitive things that are out there.
Agreed.
And so I need a shredding truck to absolutely do it, but it's not based on volume now. It's based on the value of what I need shredded. And so it's a different game. And so that industry is changing. And so as a marketing company, you have to be able to change as the industry changes with it.
Yeah, and you've been really good at that. And what a smart business model because it doesn't really matter to you about the industry changing other than you have to track it and follow it and know what leads you're trying to generate and where to send them. But like
Right.
as document shredding dies down, well, you know what? Now people have more technology they need to disperse.
Exactly.
So, and it's like
Yep.
so it's like you're just still servicing the client and the
Yep.
idea, but not necessarily the individual aspect of how they need to protect this data or they need
Right.
to destroy and dispose of this data. And it's just really smart because it's at the core of it. It's so easy for you to pivot along, right?
Right.
Because you just send the lead where they need to go at that point, and you're just
Right.
making sure you get the right leads. So that's incredible.
Well,
I
and
don't
then
think I've ever
teach.
heard of anything like that,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well,
I
and
mean, I'm sure
then
there's other people, but yeah, it's
Yeah, and so what we did with this industry report, which is, I mean, it was important, was we took 2.5 million leads from 2018 to 2025. So a lot of data. And we
yes,
started looking at how the industry has changed pre and post COVID. And I don't know if you've heard the term the donut effect, but the donut effect is what's happening in lots of industries where that were highly concentrated and are now have holes in their city centers, and shredding is one of them. Commercial waste, janitorial services, catering to downtown, water delivery, all of this has changed because now people are working from home. And
uh-huh.
so you have to be able to tell your industry how the market has changed because they can't see it at the level that we do because we do it nationwide. you may feel like there's less business in a certain office building, but it's happening everywhere. And so paying attention to vacancy rates, paying attention to customer demand, paying attention to volume, because we measure volume in every call, but paying attention to all of that is so important because it's the roots of what makes the industry thrive. And it's not gone, it's just different.
Yeah, and that's like the heart of being a stable small business is
Right.
understanding that you have to pivot. You
You
have to
have to
roll with it.
pivot. If you don't
Yeah,
pivot, like if all my little company did was say, you know what, I'm going to ignore Chat GBT, we're going to ignore Claude, we're not going to pay attention to Perplexity, that Google Gemini thing, that doesn't really matter. We would be out of business in the next 3 to 5 years because everything is going to pivot to AI search. That is just the way it's going to move.
it
Um,
is.
I mean, and you can't stop that trend any more than you could stop people moving out of downtown city centers. And so the game is to make sure that you're in the next group as it continues to evolve. Otherwise, you have to evolve your business in a different way. It would just be a different business.
I mean, it's the laws of nature, right? Like evolve
Yeah.
or die, right? Like you
Yes.
have to be agile. You have to be able to adapt to whatever's going on in the world, and you saw that in COVID. That was boom. Like next thing you know, how can you run your business remote? Like people were panicked, right? And I'm sitting over here like, man, I get to just like keep doing what I've been
Yeah.
doing. Like, and
Yeah.
and nobody thinks I'm like not a business or like not
Right.
serious anymore. Like it was this whole shift of consciousness of because we used to have an office. I used to spend a bunch of money to have an
Mhm.
office downtown
Yep.
that nobody went to but me, and I never really wanted to go because it's
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
minutes each way, and I got to pay for parking and gas and
Yep.
all the
All
bullshit, and
that.
and then I gotta like get dressed and stuff, like like
Yeah.
I just throw on a t-shirt and some gym shorts, like, and I'm
Yeah.
good for the day usually. So it's like it's totally a different mindset, but that all changed in COVID. And now after COVID, nobody cares. Like I work with some of the biggest brands on planet Earth,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
they don't care if my kid runs across the back of them. They just care about is the work getting done and is it good quality work and do they
Mhm.
do they enjoy working with you? So it's been nice to see that. And some
Yeah.
businesses didn't adapt to that well, and
Right.
the market of having these investments in like the gold stamp of like business investments was commercial real estate, and that
Right.
has never recovered. Like Amazon beat up real retail really bad,
Yes.
and then you
Yep.
had that COVID shift, and now this like permanent, like some people, like a lot of, not everyone returned back to work, right? Like
Nope.
and the only reason they wanted them to go back to work because the data doesn't show anybody was more productive at the
Mhm.
office, like on
Yeah.
a gross aggregate. And we've had a previous guest that got into the weeds of this, like he's really a specialist in remote work and he's been doing it for 15 years. But the reason people got forced back to the office was for commercial real estate
Yeah.
value,
Well,
like
I don't know. I
more
have
than
a
anything
hybrid
else.
situation. I like my people here because we do work as a team but we do have
Yeah,
full-time remote people too. And it is a big shift for people who are my age who office was coming to work every day and you
yep,
like to see your people. But the truth is that a good employee is a good employee at home or at work. A bad employee is a bad employee at home or at work. And the
100%.
trick is to have great employees, that want to work.
Yeah. And you do that by building a great culture, by having great
Yep.
leadership, all the great soft skills, actually making your employees feel like you care
Mhm.
about them,
Yep.
because we don't have the luxury of treating everyone as a number in
Right.
a small business, right? Like, and
Yep.
when I quit I worked at a Fortune 100 tech company in
Mhm.
2006, and I
Yeah.
quit in 2007. I was there for like a year and a half, but it was horrible. Like
Mhm.
everything was a number, everything was a metric, and there was no like care for human beings on
Mhm.
general. Like, and like I had this moment, and this is sort of a tangent, but I'm just gonna
Yeah.
let my ADD flow with this one because it's a
Yeah.
great story. But yeah, like I'm on a huge help desk, right? 600 people. I'm still in college. I'm thinking about starting my business, and I'm doing tech support. And like somebody like way off, like 5 rows over in aisle L37. I don't know, it's huge, huge help desk. Like wasn't there, and there was like a big hubbub, and like apparently this guy like had killed himself and his girlfriend over the weekend, and
Oh my
really
gosh.
terrible, like mental health
It's
stuff. Like,
horrible.
oh my God. And like a lot of buzz, and like, oh my God, did you hear about this? And everybody's talking about it in the weight room, blah, blah. And
Mhm.
then, like, a week and a half later, there's just somebody else there sitting at his desk,
Yeah.
like, who's taking calls, like, has no idea who Fred was from
Yeah.
whatever that, and it's just like the whole thing was so inhuman to me, and just it felt awful. And that was like
Mhm.
my last, I got to get out of here. Like, I can't do this. And I feel like that all sort of is interesting to me, because all of like it doesn't really, that doesn't you can't, that type of consciousness just doesn't translate into small business at all.
Yeah.
And I lost my train of thought because it was connected to the earlier part, but anyways.
So I was thinking
um
about my office, though, right? So I like having people in my office because I like
yeah,
to know them. And so what I do is I provide liberal snacks. And on Friday mornings, I deliver hot cinnamon rolls that I have brought and things like that to try to make the personal connection and say, I know you don't like driving here. I know you could do this from home, but for me, it's important to see your face and to know your name. I went on I was gone for a couple of weeks and we hired 3 people and I came back and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I like to know the people who work for me. There's only 25 of us
yeah,
and there is, but I do have now 3 full-time remote people. And that is a really big shift from somebody who likes to see who you work with every day. So I don't know. It's interesting. But we have to change. I mean, the people that are my full-time remote people are all managers who I could not have if I didn't have full-time remote. So there you go.
yeah. And it's that flexibility and adaptability that we were talking
Yeah.
about, for sure. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of remote staff. Like, I'd
Mhm.
say like the core leadership of my team lives within like 20-30 minutes of me, but like we
Uh-huh.
have people all over the world now, which
Yeah,
is
that's
really
cool.
amazing. And every time we hire somebody new, like I make sure I get on at least a 30-minute call with them.
Yeah.
And like, even if they, like most people don't report to me directly,
Mhm.
but it's
Yep.
like, hey, I just want to share with you like who I am, and
Yes,
why I made this
exactly.
company, and
Yeah.
what we're about here, and the direction I'm trying to take this company, and
Yep.
answer any questions, and let you know you can reach out to me anytime, and I
Yep.
care about you as a human being, even if I don't get to
Yeah.
interact with you on a daily basis.
That's
And
perfect.
I developed that, I think, from that shocking feeling of being in that
Yes.
help desk,
Yeah.
of just like, oh my God, like, yeah, everyone cared, but it's like, yeah, we're just going to keep moving this way. And like, at the end of the day, like, people aren't just numbers and spots on a
No, they're
spreadsheet
not.
like this. Yeah. And
They're
I
not.
hate that part of corporate America. And
Yeah.
it's always just felt yucky to me. So,
Yeah. I get it.
but yeah, I love that we have these, like, it's like when the internet came, right? And like all of a sudden, small businesses could do bigger things that only big
Mhm.
businesses could do before, right?
Yep.
And that same thing has happened as technologies continue to evolve,
Yes.
and now we have AI essentially enabling us to do some pretty powerful things. And a lot of people are worried about being replaced, or this and
Mhm.
that, and all the things that come with that, and that's scary, and change. And look,
Yep.
big corporations that don't give a shit about people
Yep.
are going to do bad things with this,
Yes.
right? And we've
Yeah.
seen it. Like, shout out to Zuckerberg and Facebook having
Mhm.
their big, most profitable quarter ever, and then they
Yep.
went ahead and fired like 10% of their
I know.
workforce, or it might
Crazy.
have been more than that. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so we can focus on AI. And it's like you just don't care about people, and it's because they're servicing the stockholders, right?
Right.
They're making sure it's all about like making sure that we're making as much money as humanly possible, but
Mhm.
like we're missing the human element. And I think culturally we're going to have a reverberation here as
Yeah.
smaller businesses that care about people are empowered. The data is going to start showing that people, the best talent, wants to work for the small company that's empowered with all these tools, that's led by people who actually give a shit about other human
Yep.
beings.
Well, and I would say, as a threat to our company is AI, right? Because AI is trying to give the answer that we try to do. But at the end of the day, people do business with people,
Yes,
and they're
say the
they're
whole time.
calling, and if they're going to call a machine, they're not going to have that need satisfied. But if they call a real call center with somebody who's expertise and friendly and empathetic, then it's a totally different kind of thing. But it is much more expensive to keep functioning for sure.
For sure, but it provides a value that people are going to want, and it's going to be more and more
Yep,
valuable.
I
Because
agree.
I hate calling something and I got to hit a prompt 47
Yep,
times, and then it's the wrong prompt, and then it just hangs up on me, and
yep.
I just like,
I know. I hate
I
that
like,
too.
I want to lose my mind. Like, it
Yep,
really makes me so frustrated. And it's
yeah.
like, but now I get phone calls where I literally like want to do a Turing test, and I'm like who like
Yeah.
the voice on there, I can tell is not a real human being, but they're
Right.
answering questions, and it's like it's
I
really
know, it's
kind
so
of
weird.
creepy and scary. Uh,
I agree.
but there's something missing still. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a real human yet. Like so, but it sounds like a real human. It has the
Yeah.
voice inflections and the pauses, and
Yeah.
like it's a little creepy. But I do
Yeah.
think businesses like yours that are always going to lean into like, hey, like we have a real person on the phone. You can
Mhm.
talk to a real human being that like will probably laugh at your joke for real and like
Yeah.
actually be pleasant and like
Yeah.
might add some value to your day.
Yeah.
Like I think I think for a long while that'll still have lots of value and be maybe even a unique selling proposition for your business. So
Well,
good
you'll
on you
see
for that.
us like in the internet search and saying real humans.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have a big that's gonna be a big labeling thing now in small
Mhm.
business and creativity and art. Like this is
Yeah.
not made with any AI, or this
Yep.
is AI assisted or AI empowered, or
Yep.
just Plato. Like, hey, all we got here is human beings doing human
Yeah.
being things. Like we've been doing for millennia.
Yeah.
So I love that. And,
Yeah.
and again, there's 8 billion people on planet Earth, and you just got to service your niche. Like
Yep.
so,
100%.
yeah. So it's super
100%.
fun.
Cool.
So, is there any other things out in the space right now that you're looking at, like in terms of lead gen and tools like that
I
are
think
either AI? Yeah.
the other thing that I think is interesting is definitions. So
Mm,
we're moving from document shredding, or we're going to still do document shredding, but it's a pretty simple
sure.
definition, document shredding, into, electronic recycling. And the recycling, which has terms like ITAD, which is like the official term of recycling and repurposing computers. It has electronic waste. It has all these different words around it. So it's not defined as an industry of what you do with your cell phone to keep the data on it safe and recycled and destroyed. And so one of the things I think is interesting is watching how words evolve as a new industry comes into, more developed industry. And so you could say document shredding has been around for 22 years and it's down to two words, document shredding, where this thing is nowhere near that. And so I think watching the evolution of industries linguistically is also interesting.
I bet that's interesting. And you've been
So
at this a long time, so like seeing that, I mean, you've seen some stuff that's
yeah, well,
really
again,
cool.
I was an English major, so I care about linguistics, and I think language models are interesting because it's all about language, and I love spreadsheets and math and all of that. But to be able to take language and then turn it into math and understand it better I mean, I think we're in a really fascinating period of time. I mean, incredibly rich. I always think about my grandma, my great grandma, who, saw from horses all the way to the moon, right? And that was a lot of
Crazy.
change
Yeah.
in the 100 years that she lived. And I think about the 100 years that we've lived, and, not yet, but so much change that we get to be a part of, which is neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that a bit with my late grandmother who passed away. Yeah, yeah, as I called her, which I'm Greek. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but yeah, she was born in 1920 and
Yeah.
died in 2011, which
Right.
was crazy. And like, what a run! Like that's like the tail end of well, World War II and
Yep.
all the stuff and all the technology evolution and atomic
Right.
bombs and like racism and desegregation and like the civil rights movement and
Right.
I mean, just and then computers and technology and like wow, like she saw some stuff. The
But
iPhone
look at
came out
us,
before
though.
she died. You know what I mean? Like
We were born before the cell phone, and you think about
totally.
life without a cell phone. I mean, it would be far-fetched to imagine how we would get from here to there without our mapping tools.
Oh, I know. Okay. It's funny. Yeah, I saw like a meme of some kids with a rotary phone, and it's like,
Yeah,
hey, call your mom like with this phone, and they're like,
yeah, yeah.
like,
I've seen that too. It's funny.
it is great. They're like just like hitting it,
Yeah,
like they got no idea what they're. It
yeah.
was hilarious.
They
So
didn't have to sit in the bathroom with the cord.
yeah, no kidding. Oh my God.
Yeah,
And then like actually let it go and it goes shooting
yeah,
across the room
yeah.
and like yeah, all
Exactly.
that stuff's fun.
Yeah, stuff
Um
like this.
so you've seen a lot of change. Things have
Yep.
evolved like crazy. Like if you had a magic ball and you could predict the future, what do you think the next 5 years in demand generation is going to look like?
That's a great question. I still think we're going to have consumers looking for products. I
Oh yeah.
think we're going to have a lot of ways, less, I don't think it's going to be one solution. And our goal has always been to be the bucket that catches it where it lands, and the bucket is going to keep moving. And companies today are going to have to evolve to catch whatever bucket it is.
Mhm.
You can't stop just because something is working today doesn't mean that it's gonna work tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, I think it's about moving buckets. And but
That's
but 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 driven by humans, right? And so humans still need answers, and humans still need to use their brains to make a choice. You can't
yep.
have a machine make a choice for you all the time.
No, and I think there's a level of value that's always going to be there. Like a human being's always going to feel better about talking to another human being.
Yes,
And even if that human being is just relaying some data from a
right.
machine, like
Yep.
there's like having those checkpoints and those like that almost like filtration of like, hey, this came through here and like, yeah, this stuff down here is garbage. Like, and I don't know if like AI is ever going to lose that like just part of it is like, that's not how a human being would even interpret this, you know?
Right.
Um,
On the other hand, we are getting better answers, right? I mean, by
yeah,
studying what
better
human
data.
beings want and really listening to them, we are getting better answers and hopefully less frustration and demand generation. And that hopefully it's a shorter period of time that between your need and your solution.
Well, let's talk about that. So, how do you like define the relationship between data and creativity and marketing, and which one do you think tends to drive the other?
I think like data is your crayons and your paint, and the creativity is in how you use it. So
Mm.
you can choose to let it sit on a table and not look at it, or you can choose to pick it up and listen to what it tells you. And a lot like a book, a lot like anything, data tells stories as much as anything else in the world. And all we have to do is just keep asking it, and not be afraid of it.
Every time someone talks about data, I'm reminded of this story that you not only having the right data, but understanding that data in a way that is actually giving you the right information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the analogy it's not even an analogy, it's a story. It's like in World War II, there was a bunch of fighter planes, prop planes coming back from
Mm-hmm.
dogfights, right? And they got bullet
Right.
holes all over them. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, let's map all the bullet holes and figure out where we need to reinforce the
Yeah.
armor because these all get hit in these specific spots.
Mhm.
And it's like they're getting ready to do that and they're working through it. And someone goes, hey, all these bullet holes we're seeing are on the planes, right? Those are the ones that made it back. Maybe
Yes.
we reinforce all the spots where there's no bullet holes because that's the ones that took them down.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
so
like, oh
smart.
shit.
That is
Like,
smart.
and it's such
Yes,
a
that's
great
that is the
story.
way to use data. Exactly. Exactly that. And it took a human to figure that out, right?
Yes. Yes, because if you read that data wrong, you're going to waste your time reinforcing the spots on these planes that clearly didn't cause them to crash. But
Yeah.
like, oh well, this is where they're getting shot, and statistically
Yeah.
speaking, these were all the bullet holes, and there's more in this region. And if that region has the most bullet holes, like that's
Yeah.
probably the least amount of that's probably the spot you
Yeah.
don't need to reinforce because the plane still flew back for you to
Yeah.
analyze.
That's super
So
smart.
I don't know.
Super smart.
I love that story because it's a surprising conclusion, but once you reach it, it's like, oh, that's absolutely the solution. Like the
Right.
other thing was wrong,
Yep.
but it's so easy to generate the wrong answer from that.
Absolutely.
Um, so I don't know, I love that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
well,
Anyway. All right. I
this
don't know.
has
I don't
been
think of
super
anything
fun.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
know this
enjoyed
is
it too.
great. We're also here at time, so like
Okay.
we cruised right in it. But
All right.
before I let you go, I would like to ask you: is there anyone or anything in your career that you'd like to shout out to the audience? Valuable resource, favorite client, mentor?
Well, I'd say my mentor is my dad, who started the business. He started it out of a recycling company here in Denver. And he was a risk taker, and he was creative, and he was driven and relentless. And without his insights and without what he gave to us and he's still alive and still called me this morning with, here's what you need today. You need a revenue manager. I'm like, okay. But those early entrepreneurs that understand business and live it, like you, like me, they're what America's made out of. And it's a beautiful thing. So I give a shout
Love
out to
that.
my dad.
Well, shout out to your dad, and shout out to my dad too. R.I.P. It'll be a decade since he's gone, and
No,
20
I'm
years
sorry.
in 20 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, he instilled all this entrepreneurship and this idea that you can do
Yep.
anything and accomplish whatever you want, and just got to go for it and believe in it. And on the flip side, my mom had this like crazy hard work ethic, and like
Yeah.
I sort of married those two things, and
It's
I do
awesome.
attribute my success to that. And then
Yep.
from that, finding the right partner at 20 years old who has
Yeah.
always had my back and never let me quit, and even when I didn't believe in myself, picks me up
Yeah.
and goes, "You got this," So there's
Yep.
a whole uh community and ecosystem that goes into everyone's success. So
Yeah. We're
shout out to those
fortunate. So
people for sure.
anyway, thanks
Awesome.
for your time. It was really fun.
Yeah, likewise. So, all right. So we've been talking with Melinda Powelson. You can check her out at matchengine.com. That's her company's website. But if listeners would like to follow up with you directly, where should they go?
You could email me at mpowelson@matchengine.com. Be great. Or
Perfect.
just, yeah, be great. All right. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. It was fun.
Awesome. Lots of fun. All right. Well, again, we've been talking with Melinda. Thank you so much for being on the show. And to everyone else, if this episode sparks something for you, please share it with a friend or colleague, and we will see you all next time. Take it easy. We really hope you enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe to join us on our next journey through the world of art and business on the Pixel Retentive Podcast.